10 things that will happen if the sun goes out for 7 days. Welcome back to our channel. Today we'll be talking about 10 things that will happen if the sun goes out for 7 days. But before proceeding further, we request you to subscribe to our channel to support us so we create more content for you. And don't forget to click the link below after watching this video for amazing deals. So without any further delay, let's begin this wonderful adventure. Number 1. If sun goes down, what will be our reaction? If we know this switch off is only for 7 days, all of us will enjoy the change. Governments may declare a holiday to avoid any confusion. Solar panels will take a rest. Photosynthesis won't take place. Animals, birds, and sea creatures may get confused and go into slumber. We'll all feel the life of people in Arctics like Norway who have very long nights in winter. Many dayflowers may not bloom. Nocturnal creatures and plants will have an extended night. Movies will be screened on extra-large screens, outdoors. There'll be lots of partying because of the night mood. Temperatures around the world may go down. Number 2. Suppose we don't know that it's for only 7 days and it happens suddenly. We'll all be scared. There'll be utter confusion. Soothsayers will go around predicting the end of the world. All of us will be in a state of shock and depression. TV sets will be on throughout, waiting for news from government. Temples, churches, and mosques, etc. will be overcrowded with people praying sincerely. Shops will go empty as people will start hoarding food and essentials. There may even be tempers raised in the hurry to buy. Malls, supermarkets attacked, robbed by impatient people as well as miscreants. People may attack the government and leaders asking for a solution for this problem. Some weak people may commit suicide. Animals, birds, plants, and sea creatures may only feel an extended night. Number 3. What lies beyond? Right now, Earth is orbiting the sun at a blazing speed of 67,000 miles per hour. If the sun vanished, its gravitational pull would be gone, but Earth's speed would remain the same. To understand why, picture yourself tying a rock to the end of a string and then swinging that string in a circle over your head. Then you let go of the string. The rock goes flying in a straight line away from you, the same way that Earth would go flying in a straight line away from the central point in space where the sun used to sit. Number 4. Now the question comes, will we all die? As long as Earth didn't collide with any other planets, asteroids, or comets, it would only take about 377,000 years for it to traverse 4.3 light years, the distance to the nearest star, Alpha Centauri. And after 1 billion years, Stephen calculates, Earth would have traveled 100,000 light years, or the length of the entire Milky Way galaxy. Who's to say our tiny planet wouldn't get picked up and pulled into orbit by another star, or perhaps a black hole? The Milky Way harbors an estimated 100 billion stars, and as many as 1 billion black holes. Whatever the outcome, Earth's future after no sun would be an exciting adventure across the cosmos. Number 5. Eternal night. We wouldn't be left in complete and utter darkness, however. The stars would still shine and electricity would continue to work, so cities would remain lit for as long as the power lasted. And even the planets would remain visible for a brief time. For example, when Jupiter is closest to Earth, it's about 33 light minutes away, which means we would continue to see the giant planet for over an hour, the time it would take for the residual light to reach Jupiter and reflect Earth after the sun was gone. But after 8 minutes, one thing on Earth would come to a screeching halt, explains Michael Stevens, who founded and stars in the widely popular YouTube channel Vsauce. Without sunlight, photosynthesis, the process by which all plants generate food, would stop the second the sunlight winked out in our sky. Earth's average surface temperature would drop to 32 degrees Fahrenheit after the first week, and then to negative 150 degrees Fahrenheit by the end of the first year. Number 6. It will be too cold. The Earth's atmosphere has some capacity to hold in the heat, but not much of one. A relatively simple calculation would show that the Earth's surface temperature would drop by a factor of 2 about every 2 months if the sun were shut off. The current mean temperature of the Earth's surface is about 300 Kelvin, K. This means in 2 months, the temperature would drop to 150 K and 75 K in 4 months. To compare, the freezing point of water is 273 K. So basically, it'd get too cold for us humans within just a few weeks. Some bacteria seems to be capable of surviving at extremely cold temperatures in space, but at the moment, I don't think we're capable of something like that on any appreciable scales. Number 7. Fact that we don't know. So what would happen to that life if the sun suddenly went out? Because light from the sun takes 8.5 minutes to reach Earth, we wouldn't notice immediately if the sun suddenly went out. 9 minutes later, though, we'd find ourselves in complete darkness. If it was already dark on our side of the world, we'd notice the moon suddenly disappear. Why? The moon doesn't produce light. We only see the moon because sunlight reflects off of it. As the sunlight that was illuminating the moon disappears, so would the moon. The same would go for the many other celestial bodies in the sky, such as planets, which we only see because of the sun's reflected light. Number 8. Will we all die? Earth would quickly become a much colder place. Fortunately, Earth retains heat fairly well, so humans wouldn't freeze instantly. Life would get much more difficult immediately, though. Although no one can know for sure exactly what would happen, scientists estimate that the average global surface temperature would drop below 0 degrees Fahrenheit within a week or so. The problem is that the temperature would continue to drop steadily. Within a year, the average global surface temperature could dip well below minus 100 degrees Fahrenheit. By that time, the top layers of the oceans of the world would have frozen over. Without the sun's rays, all photosynthesis on Earth would stop. All plants would die, and all animals that rely on plants for food, including humans, would die too. While some inventive humans might be able to survive on a sunless Earth for several days, months, or even years, life without the sun would eventually prove to be impossible to maintain on Earth. Number 9. Will we survive? This way of life would be miserably dark and lonely, and it's difficult to know whether humans would last long under these conditions. On the other hand, the animals that live around these vents today would continue surviving for billions of years after the sun vanished. That's because these animals don't need the sun to live. Instead, they get their food and energy from the heat coming out of these geothermal vents. Therefore, most, but not all life, would be extinguished from our planet without the sun. These geothermal-loving organisms would last for billions of years after the sun vanished and after all other life froze into extinction. Oddly enough, this ice ball Earth resembles some of the moons around Jupiter that astrobiologists suspect could harbor extraterrestrial microbes. Number 10. The real truth. Well, it's all theory and practice. About 5 billion years, the sun will run out of hydrogen. Our star is currently in the most stable phase of its life cycle and has been since the birth of our solar system about 4.5 billion years ago. Once all the hydrogen gets used up, the sun will grow out of this stable phase. With no hydrogen left to fuse in the core, a shell of fusion hydrogen will form around the helium-filled core, astrophysicist Gillian Scudder wrote in an article for The Conversation. Gravitational forces will take over, compressing the core and allowing the rest of the sun to expand. Our star will grow to be larger than we can imagine, so large that it will envelop the inner planets, including Earth. That's when the sun will become a red giant. So this finishes our countdown of top 10 things that will happen if the sun goes out for 12 hours. I hope you liked this video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. We'll see you really soon.